to do this in theater, and it... Oh my God. Very clearly, I'm not a smoker. I used to roll up sage. Oh, that tastes just as bad as I remember it. Oh, it's like Death of a Salesman all over again. Help. Hi, welcome to the Fourth Reich. So... I'm just going to start by saying that I'm turning the comments off for this video because I don't need a bunch of neo-Nazis gaslighting me. I would like to follow that up with, I got my degree in history. My specialty is the World Wars. So if you think you're going to gaslight me about what a Sieg Heil looks like, I'm just not even going to give you the chance. Because you can't. All that being said, I feel like it's a very good time to brush up on our history. I feel like now is a perfect opportunity to remind everybody why we don't do that. Maybe tomorrow I'll go to my doctor's appointment and I'll try it. And oh, I thought this was a Roman salute. Aren't we like allowed to do that again? Hi, that hasn't been a Roman salute since like before 1933, so just so you know. So we're gonna watch this video because I feel like people need a little more education on what this gesture means, the history behind it, or at least the basics behind it. I want everyone to remember that since it was adopted by fascists, it has always and forever will be attributed to fascists. So please don't try to, what's the word I'm looking for? Invalidate the seriousness of this gesture by trying to equate it to something that it hasn't been equated to since before the 30s. Also, I need you guys to get a little bit more brushed up on your history. Hitler specifically stole so many different things from the Romans and tried to make it better and more German. But it was this like show of power for him, because to him, the Romans were like this big, powerful civilization. You know, they were leaders. Like you had like Caesar and Augustus and Nero. You know. Oh my God, I'm never gonna. Well, anyway, I need you guys to like shut your fucking mouth if you don't know any of this already. This history behind all of this. If you can't tell me about World War II, like without looking it up on your phone. If you didn't take any classes, like extra classes outside of high school, I'm gonna need you to shut up. If you don't have your degree in history and like if you didn't take at least a class on the Holocaust in college, I'm gonna need you to shut your fucking mouth. And I need to be very clear with everybody. If you do that salute in my vicinity, I'm going to fuck you up. I will fuck you up. Don't ever feel fucking bold enough to do that shit around me. My grandpa helped liberate DeKalb with the U.S. Army Sherman Tank Division, and I have a whole fucking slew of combat Marines in my family, including my dad. Don't even fucking feel emboldened to do that shit around me and then try to pass it off as someone being autistic. I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure autistic people know not to do that. Like, even kids with autism know that we don't fucking Sieg Heil to people, you know? Especially on, like, the world stage. If he's that socially awkward, why'd y'all let him up there? I digress. We need to just watch this video because I'm getting more fucking pissed the more I think about it. I need to breathe. My blood pressure. I can't do this. I don't know if you guys knew this, but medication prices went up automatically today. You guys want to know how much my medication went up? For my kidney failure that I need to stay alive? $400. Guess whose insurance won't cover it? So that's fun. That's really cool. So this is a really important video. I think we should watch it together. Let's go. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't subscribe if you're a Nazi, please. I'm not even gonna say please. Don't fucking subscribe if you're a Nazi. You'll get curb stomped. Let's go. The Hitler salute is one of the most recognizable symbols in history. Known as the German greeting, it was a ritual of the cult of Adolf Hitler. But where did it come from? I wonder. Mussolini in 1923 with the fascists. Wow. Oh, even right there, they said that Mussolini adopted this Roman salute. And ever since, it has been attributed to fascism. So we can go ahead and debunk the whole Roman salute thing and using that as an excuse. After 1933. Was that stupid mustache a requirement too? Because I see that an awful lot. I saw a guy when I was doing my thesis. Literally, he was getting hung at, it wasn't Landsberg. Where the fuck was it? It's been a while. He was getting hung and he had one of those stupid little mustaches too. Oh God, how embarrassing. This should still be embarrassing. Made them look like a bunch of idiots. Because that's what y'all look like when you do it. You look like a bunch of idiots. That's sad. Oh, I just got goosebumps. Just gonna pause it right here. I'm gonna go ahead and read this. Today, the salute is banned in a number of European countries, including countries like, I'm pretty sure it's illegal. You can get jail time in Australia. But extremist groups often use it to align their ideology with the Nazis' racism and anti-Semitism. Let's just let that settle in a little bit. Continuing. Okay, so that's where you can go to learn more. I think it would also be a good idea if we, I don't know, maybe took a little look at what a day in a concentration camp would have been like.
Check this out.
I've never seen this channel before, so.
Okay, ready? All right,
When the Allied forces entered the camps at Auschwitz on January the 27th, 1945, what they found was a tragic scene of mass extermination.
Look at their faces. Like, that fucking says everything right there. I want to cry. Okay. My grandpa wouldn't talk about it.
Likes of which our world had never witnessed before. After Germany sparked World War II and invaded Poland, the Schutzstaffel, more commonly known as the SS, would convert Auschwitz I into a...
Like, I've seen so much, like, Holocaust footage. It's still just as, like, difficult. Every single time. It's like seeing 9/11 happen over again. It's like, it's like a whole, I don't know, it's like a... That's very difficult to wrap my head around how, like, for example, Operation Hearst, which was named after Commandant of Auschwitz, Rudolf Hearst, There were 400,000 Hungarian Jews killed in a matter of about 3 weeks. Like, if people could just wrap their head around how big of a number 400,000 people is? Like, watch the footage. This is a weird example, but Woodstock 99, that's like double the amount of people in the crowd. So, it's just really sad. It's really sad.
Prisoner of war camp.
Auschwitz
Later
1.
on, construction of Auschwitz
Birkenau.
started, which would become the site of countless atrocities. Of the 1.3 million people...
This guy. You can actually find these. This was actually from Bergen-Belsen. Though, isn't it? Isn't this guy from Bergen-Belsen? Pretty sure this guy got interviewed at Bergen-Belsen. Also, William Durr, who was hung for his crimes, and Hertha Botha, who ended up living to be old, but she got like a 10-year sentence. They called her the sadist of Stutthof, and she ended up only serving till like 1952 or something. A lot of these people got off with nothing. I think this guy ended up hanging, though.
1.1 million people were killed, and their remains desecrated. That, in itself, is a shocking figure. But the world would soon be shocked even more.
6 million
as
people,
survivors
bro.
reported the ghastly truth of what had actually happened. When Hitler assumed control of Germany as the Chancellor from 1933 to 1945...
Man, I'll say this every time. You need to watch Downfall. Bruno Ganz does such an amazing job at portraying how unstable this man's demeanor was, especially near the end.
He would implement a policy of mass extermination that had been cited by multiple right-wing extremists before him. And this policy,
Final solution
Nazi ideology, came to be known as the final solution
to the Jewish problem.
Before the start of World War II, Germany already had multiple
Looked like the Krakow ghetto.
which acted as detention centers for Jews, political prisoners, and other enemies of the Nazis.
And like, these people did not do anything. These people weren't criminals. They were just like, it's like your mom and your aunt right there and your little brother. What the fuck did they do? Just think about it.
Nazi state. But these were just the foreshadowing of what was to come, and not the full picture. As the Nazis invaded Poland, they set up concentration camps in Polish army barracks. The famous Rudolf Hess oversaw
there he
the
is.
development of this institution.
Oh god, he was such a little shrimpy ass dude. You guys need to watch The Zone of Interest. Watch The Zone of Interest. It is one of the most important movies I think that's ever been made. And a lot of it, I mean, the whole movie is about Rudolf Hess and his family living right next to Auschwitz. You never see really anything. You see the like outside of the camp, but you never like see any of the violence. You hear it the whole time. It's an incredible movie. They tortured his son until his wife gave up his location. And here's the thing, because he was on the run. And this dumbass, he had his fucking wedding ring on with him and his wife's name in it. And that's how they caught him. And then so, like, he ended up getting hung at Auschwitz. He was the last execution to take place there. You can still see the gallows at the museum. If you go today to Auschwitz, you can see where he was hung.
And was the camp's first commandant. The reason...
He also got a Jewish girl pregnant and, well, yeah, he raped her. And they took him off his post for a while, and then he came back, and that's when Operation Hearst was started.
was probably because it was located at the junction point of 44 parallel tracks or railway lines that could easily be used...
That's
to
crazy.
prisoners of war.
That's a lot.
Would also order the construction of a crematorium, initially intended to be used as a way to...
This is where they would sleep. So you'd have like 5 people down here, 5 people here, 5 people here. Some people got hay, but I mean, you were just basically sleeping on this. And think about it, like there was no, they didn't have central AC, they didn't have heating, they didn't have anything like that. A lot of people died from exposure, typhus, disease, starvation. amongst, being straight up murdered by these people.
Burn bodies of executed prisoners or who had otherwise died. But by May 1940,
There were people who got burned alive.
installed, which could burn 340 bodies in 24 hours. And these began to be used to kill even those prisoners who were alive. In this way, the crematoriums would become a symbol of the ruthlessness of the Nazis.
And it wasn't just Jews, it was disabled people. Like, I have kidney failure, I'm on dialysis. Like, I'm going to be the first to go in a fascist dictatorship. It was gay people, it was the clergy, it was Romani, it was anybody. There were black people. There was a black man at Auschwitz. I think he was a jazz musician. And he was killed at Auschwitz, if I remember correctly. So yeah.
Nazi regime and their disregard for human life. The Nazis would continue building chambers like these and would construct a total of 5. When
Himmler, what a little shithead he was. He couldn't fucking get into the real military. And he thought he was Mr. Big Man in his fucking uniform. A little shrimpy ass dumbass. I can't stand Hermann Himmler. He is literally like one of the most cowardly little fucking dudes on the planet ever of all time. This man, like Hitler wasn't even dead yet and he was trying to like take his place. Like, and obviously I don't like Hitler, but like he was such a chicken shit, bro. People who worship Himmler, I don't get you people. I don't get you people. Like, there are people out there who think he was great. He was little and lopsided and literally was such a little shrimpy ass, dumbass dude. Like, he was a traitor. Oh, don't even get me started on him. I can't stand him. I can't stand him.
This resulted in the construction of a second.
He had such an inferiority complex. He had such a little man complex. I can't stand him. Ah! Don't get me started!
To Birkenau. And it was completed in October 1941. The original camp could hold about 15,000 prisoners of war.
Little girls.
Alright, so listen up. State Farm was trying to charge...
Oh my god, shut up. I don't care. We're talking about something important.
While Birkenau could hold more than 90,000. An astounding number, which showed how the Nazi regime was just getting started, and which made sure that Birkenau would become the site of countless atrocities against the human race itself. The prisoners of war included a majority of Jews, which composed nearly 1.1 million.
So what you're looking at here is you have the men in one line and the women in the other. And then you have the people going to the gas chambers. So you had one group going one direction, which was to the right. Those are the people who ended up being labor workers, and they lived. And then you people going to the left, and they were going to the gas chambers. So, that would have been these people, I think, going that way. So, like, in front of them, that would be the direction of the gas chambers.
3 million total prisoners. The other prisoners, about 200,000, were predominantly made up of non-Jewish Poles, Roma people, Gypsies, homosexuals, Soviet prisoners of war, and those who were mentally unfit to be used in Hitler's grand plan for Europe. As one of the greatest tragedies of world history, the scale of horror, death, and torture inflicted on the prisoners of war is hard to grasp, and even harder to comprehend. When the Soviet Red Army finally
took too long.
They found a giant pile of shoes, which had been left behind by the
So
victims.
I've been to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., and they have the room of shoes.
Of this inhumane tragedy and photographed it.
There is a picture of Jenny Wanda Barkman standing in front of, I will put the picture up. She's standing in front of a pile of shoes just like this. Might actually, is this Studoff? It might be Studoff.
Is powerful yet
Maybe I might be wrong.
and exemplifies the brutality of the Nazi regime, for which human life meant nothing. At Auschwitz, prisoners would arrive crammed into cattle wagons.
A lot
Imaginable.
of people died in those cattle cars.
But what waited for them was even worse. On their arrival, they would be given triangular pieces of clothes, which were sewn into their jackets above their prisoner number. In July 1942, a large portion of those that were sent to the camps at Auschwitz were of Jewish descent. These victims would be examined by Nazi doctors, and those that they considered
That woman had a piece of, I can't remember if it was a piece of her leg bone removed or I think they added a cadaver bone in her calf and greatly disfigured her. Dr. Joseph Mengele was one of the doctors who did these experiments. And as a twin, I take what Joseph Mengele did very personally because he experimented on twins.
fit for work or duty were immediately sent to take a shower in bathrooms. But these showers would be of a lethal kind.
They would give them a bar of soap.
Actually disguised gas chambers, as this was just a method to whittle down the number of unfit prisoners. These would include young children, elderly couples, pregnant women, and the mentally or physically infirm. Once the unfit prisoners would be inside the gas
I think that was a scene from Schindler's List that he just showed.
chambers, they would be exposed to a lethal poison gas called Zyklon B. The biggest tragedy surrounding this entire episode was that these prisoners were never registered in the Nazi database, and therefore it is impossible to find out the true extent of horrible atrocities committed.
There's so many people that were just wiped off the face of the earth, and we never, ever gonna know that they were alive and existed because of this. Like, their whole families are gone. Like, so there's no one to say, hey, this person's missing. And there's no way. They gassed a lot of people before they documented them. And a lot of them didn't have their documentation or anything like that. And then they would have just destroyed it with them anyway. So, and there's like ash pits where they would just dump their ashes into pits, and that's it.
Political prisoners would wear a red triangle sewn into their shirts, while German criminals...
Fortunately, the Germans document everything. So we do have a good idea of how this all operated and who worked there, and a lot of the people who did pass through there. I mean, there is fortunately documentation on a lot of people, but not everybody, which is really sad.
Criminals would have a green piece. Prostitutes, gypsies, and the Roma would wear black, and homosexual would wear pink. Jews would be forced to wear a yellow band.
So there's a really fascinating, you can look it up on YouTube. There's the little girl and her sister who were, she survived Auschwitz, but she found all of her family in the pictures of them arriving to Auschwitz, and her mom and brothers were in the woods waiting to go to the gas chambers.
The design of the Star of David, and in this way, prisoners would be differentiated.
You can find all of that on YouTube.
Furthermore, the nationality of a particular inmate was indicated by a letter stitched into their clothing. Because of this differentiation, a racial hierarchy began to be formed, with German prisoners at the top, followed by non-Jewish prisoners from various countries, while the Jewish prisoners would be at the bottom. Those that did survive the initial gas chambers would be forced into a life of slavery, where many would die from overexhaustion, diseases, a lack of nutrition, and many more would succumb to the daily struggle that was life in Auschwitz. For the men, the day would begin at 4:30 a.m., with the women rising up even earlier, when the block supervisor would ring a gong, signaling the start of daily...
They're called capos. For example, like Ben Shapiro, he's a capo.
labor and slavery.
He would
The block
be.
supervisor would go around beating the inmates with a stick in order to make them use the latrine quickly. The sanitary arrangements were, of course, absolutely horrible and led to many infections and diseases. For their breakfast, prisoners would only receive 500 milligrams of coffee substitute in order to keep them working. After this, a second gong
Oh, that's sad. Okay.
would be rung in order to call all of the inmates outside and make them stand in neat rows of tens
That's sad.
so they could be counted. These inmates would be
Genocide is still going on.
hours on end until the SS officers came for the count.
So, I can't remember this guy's name. It's like Bohr or something. And there's Joseph Mengele and there's Rudolf Hirsch.
After recounting and making sure every prisoner was present, work would commence. No rest periods were allowed, and even the latrine breaks would be recorded so that the officers could completely control every free second of the inmates' lives. Lunch would be served at midday and consisted of a watery soup that was reported to be disgusting and unhygienic.
Moldy bread.
The evening meal would be a measly 300 grams of
Ugh.
bread, which was mostly moldy and unfit for eating. After the day's work would end, a second roll call would take place where floggings and hangings were common. Many would be punished for any infractions that they might have caused. If any prisoner was missing, the rest would be forced to stand in roll call until and unless the missing prisoner in question was found. At night time, the prisoners, exhausted from the hellish labor and the ruthlessness of their Nazi officers, would go to rest and receive their mail. Jewish prisoners would not be allowed any mail, and thus were even kept deprived of any family news on the outside. For sleep, thousands of prisoners would be forced into a single wooden or brick barrack, and as soon as the nighttime curfew gong was sounded, Auschwitz would go completely silent. In the darkness of night, only one madman would continue his experiments. That madman,
Mengele.
Josef Mengele, who had come to be known as the Angel of Death for his crude and inhumane experiments on Jewish prisoners.
You know what's crazy is that he got away with it. He ran to South America and died of like a heart attack, I think, or a stroke when he was swimming in the ocean. But he spent his whole life on the run.
He would experiment
So
with babies.
I like to think that he never had peace. Because like they said, like this little baby experimented on little babies. Well, look at that sweet little baby face. Oh my God. No, my mom heart can't take it.
No older than a few months old. And it was his...
Oh yes, this lady survived. That lady survived. I don't know if her twin did, but that lady survived, and you can find her story on YouTube. Oh,
on
so
the
sad.
suffering of hundreds of thousands of victims.
Twinners. Oh, my twin's my best friend.
Too must come to a close and give way to the light.
That makes me sad.
In 1945, the Soviet army...
Hey, Band of Brothers. Okay, so I know this is American. These are American troops right here, and Easy Company did not actually come up on a camp, but I think it was a great way to bring up the topic in the show, so I'm not mad about it.
finding approximately 7,000
This was a great show.
sick detainees, while an estimated 60,000 had
My grandpa helped liberate Dachau, and I wish I would have gotten like his version of things. I just would have liked to have heard his experience, but he wouldn't talk about it.
March, where many more would lose their lives. More than 1 million would lose their lives in this horrific tragedy. The pain and sacrifices of those people should never be forgotten, lest we face another tragedy like this.
That's why it's so important. So, okay, this is a really good video. This was a day in history. Yeah, I follow them. Thank you for that video. It was very important to remember why that sign is bad and that salute is bad. And even if you are like joking, you don't do it. It's only acceptable if you are in the producers, in a production of the producers. Because that's Mel Brooks making fun of Nazis. I am myself, watch my show. I'm the German Ethel Merman, don't you know? We are crossing borders, the New World Order is here. With a great big smile, everyone sing Heil to me, wonderful me. And now it's springtime for Hitler and Germany. Oh my God, the producers is so good though. Fascism, because it makes fun of them, and there's nothing that fascists hate more than being laughed at in their face. Like, look at Mussolini. He was a weird guy. He looked fucking crazy. Elon Musk, a little bit nuts. What a weirdo. So don't do that anymore, please. If anyone does that in my vicinity, I will knock your lights out. Bitch, I was a punk. You think we let that shit fly? Hell no. Anyway, thanks for watching this video with me. I think it's really important. I think it's an important discussion that we need to have now. And I don't really care if I piss people off with this video because I think that it's just too important to not talk about. Like, to not have this discussion. Like, I would have wasted all of my college money if I didn't say something about this right now, since it's like definitely in the headlines, topic of discussion. Like, we just really need to like not let this stuff happen again, or fester in especially in America, because America is like 10 times stronger than Germany was at the time, like maybe 100,000 times stronger, and we have a bigger military force than ever, and we have all this money, and it wouldn't be good if we were the ones who were doing it this time. So let's just hold each other accountable. That's it. Okay, I'm gonna listen to some music now because I need to just I need to dissociate for a little bit. Because this is all very stressful. This is a lot. This is... Don't say I didn't warn you. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will just catch you guys in my next video. Okay, love you, bye.